Have you ever experienced the frustrating pain of someone you're attracted to suddenly becoming distant or even worse, completely ignoring you? It's as if you were on their mind one moment and the next, you were nothing. It's similar to chasing a butterfly, the more you try to catch it, the further it flies away. What if you have exhausted all of your options in an attempt to get them to notice, engage with, or even miss you, but nothing seems to be working? What if you're just sitting there, ruminating about every interaction and hoping for a sign, only to be met with nothing but silence? If any of this sounds familiar, today is the day that things will turn around and you will be able to take back your strength. And if you believe this is only happening to people in books or movies, stick around because we're going to go into detail on how to handle this and take back control. As Maya Angelou so eloquently put it, never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. Whether you are trying to attract someone new, pull someone back from the brink of distance, or even make your ex realize what they left behind, this truth applies to you. The more of a priority you give someone, the less they value you. People don't value what they are handed to them, they value what they must put in the effort to obtain. This is the first step in gaining an advantage. Consider the following scenario: you are attempting to become closer to someone new, but instead of returning the favor, they are pulling back. Or perhaps it's your ex who dumped you, and now you're hoping they'll realize what they've lost. The more you chase, the less they want you, which is the harsh reality. They believe they have you under their control, and as long as they are aware that you are waiting, they have no incentive to miss you or reconsider their choice. But what if you could get them to see you in a completely new light? What if you started to focus on yourself rather than on them? The following is what you need to understand: attraction thrives in the space between you and them, and is built on desire. The distance they are creating is your golden opportunity to step back and create a space for them to feel your absence, rather than your cue to pursue. People miss what they don't have all the time, not what they always have. Let them experience it, let them sit in the quiet if they are acting distant, and stop trying to close the gap. You are the one who should be pursued, you are not the one who should be doing the chasing. Whether it's a new person testing the waters or an ex who thought the grass was greener on the other side, they need to know that you're not sitting around waiting for them to realize how amazing you are. Let them be distant if they are ignoring you, let them live with that decision. The moment you stop trying so hard is the moment they start to wonder what happened to the person they thought would always be there. I know it's tempting to send that one last text, make one more call, or accidentally run into them, but stop for a second and ask yourself, what are you really doing? You are trying to prove something to them when, in reality, you should be proving something to yourself. You deserve someone who can't stand the thought of losing you, not someone who is lukewarm, distant, or treating you like an afterthought. Right now, I am challenging you to take a step back, stop trying to make them see your value, and start acting like you already know it. People notice confidence, they notice when you stop trying too hard, and they notice when you are suddenly unavailable. That's when their curiosity is piqued, when you value yourself, and when that energy radiates. Why aren't you chasing them? Why aren't you around? What exactly have you been up to? You see, when you step back, you give them the chance to come forward, and if they don't, then they weren't worth your time. They frequently return, whether it's a new person who suddenly realizes they might miss their shot or an ex who wonders if they made the biggest mistake of their life. Pulling back is the ultimate power move because it shows them what they're missing without saying a word. What are you doing right now at this very moment? Are you still sitting there, hoping that someone will notice you? Are you still checking your phone every few minutes, hoping for a text? Quit it, you are superior to that. The instant you begin to act like the incredibly valuable person you are, everything changes. You are naturally drawn to attention, you don't have to beg for it when you stand in your power. I'm about to share with you 7 power moves that will make you absolutely irresistible, so irresistible that they will have no choice but to sit up and pay attention. Stop playing small, stop holding on, and get ready to level up because what I'm about to show you will completely change the game. Let the one person who thought they could take you for granted see what it's like when you stand firm in your strength, they won't know what hit them. Before we move on, I want you to write an affirmation in the comments. It's a powerful message that you can use to empower yourself. I am irresistible. Even though it's a simple concept, those 3 words are the key to everything we're going to talk about in the next few minutes. It's about believing it and owning that power, not just saying it. This is the basis of the change you're about to make, so go ahead, write it down, and declare it. Believe it, write it, and watch as everything begins to shift in your favor. You don't need a pen, just go to the comments and write. Believe me, this may seem insignificant, but it's crucial that you accept this fact: I am irresistible. As the Stoic legend Epictetus wisely said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. You can't just sit around, waiting for someone else to validate you. You have to declare it for yourself first. Go ahead, declare it loudly in the comments, and let me see how serious you are about making a change. It is your time to say it and believe it if you want things to turn around in your favor. Let's witness your strength in action. Bury the desperation. Let's talk about the first thing you need to do to reclaim your strength when someone distances themselves and ignores you: bury the desperation. This step entails masking your reaction and concealing your desperation. Although it might sound a little harsh, trust me when I say that this move will save you from a lot of emotional turmoil and give you back the authority. Now, you might be wondering how I can possibly not react when someone I care about is drifting away. It's only natural to freak out when we think someone is getting away from us. Keep in mind, though, that Stoicism teaches us to control our reactions, not the world around us. The moment you express desperation, you surrender all of your power, so let's start with that straightforward truth. They already believe they have the advantage when someone ignores you. You confirm their control by reacting in a frenzy. They don't even have to lift a finger to get emotional leverage from you. Mark Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your thoughts spiral into desperation, you're doomed to react from a place of fear instead of strength, and fear, my friends, is not attractive. Control is what is attractive." Imagine that you are texting someone. Maybe it's an ex, or maybe it's someone new. They abruptly stop responding, which causes that sinking feeling in your stomach and those worrisome thoughts to begin to creep in. What did I do wrong? Should I text them again? Maybe they're busy. And that's where it all begins. The desperation builds, and before you know it, you're constantly checking your phone, hoping for that notification to appear. Desperation is not subtle, though, and the more desperate you are, the more distant they will be. They can sense that energy from a great distance. Hide that desperation, instead of giving in to those urges. Burying desperation does not entail denying your feelings, rather, it entails controlling them. You are allowed to feel confused, angry, or hurt when someone drifts away. That is normal. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control our emotions, we can control how we respond to them. This is where you start practicing emotional discipline. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that I am irresistible when you feel that anxiety rising. It's a simple assertion, yet it has a lot of power. You are not pleading for their attention because you are aware of your worth. You don't need to follow someone who doesn't see it. Let's be real for a second. If you're thinking, but how do I just stop feeling desperate? It's not that simple, I get it. Guess what though, you don't have to stop feeling desperate, you just have to stop showing it. It's about developing restraint. Controlling your actions is the first step, even when you feel like your emotions are getting out of hand. Stop replaying every conversation in your head, stop checking their social media, and stop texting them. As Seneca said, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. You are emotionally impoverishing yourself by craving their attention. You have the power to put an end to this, which is great news. Here's a little bit of humor to keep you interested. Imagine desperation as the extremely eager salesperson at the mall. You know, the one who is constantly trying to get you to try their product and is adamant that you give it a chance. What exactly do? You run the other way, right? Well, guess what? when you desperately follow someone, you turn into that salesperson, and they turn into the person rushing for the exit. No one wants to be sold desperation. How do you incorporate this step into your life? Start with small acts of self-restraint. Stop yourself the next time you feel the need to text them or check their social media. Keep in mind that you are in charge, and their response has no bearing on your worth. The more powerful you become, the less you react. This doesn't mean you're messing around, it means you're protecting your own peace. What if you're finding it difficult and really struggling not to react, though? That's alright, growth is a journey, and Stoicism emphasizes progress over perfection. Start by giving yourself space to feel without acting on those feelings. Try writing in a journal or talking to a friend, but most importantly, concentrate on yourself. Every time you resist the urge to react, you're developing emotional fortitude and demonstrating to yourself that you are enough, regardless of whether or not they pay attention. Let me conclude by sharing another Stoic wisdom from Epictetus: it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is your chance to demonstrate that, regardless of how someone else acts, you are in charge of your own emotions, worth, and life. You are not desperate, you are desirable. Keep repeating to yourself, I am irresistible. Drop it in the comments, say it out loud, write it down, and believe it. When you bury that desperation and start living from a position of strength, the tables will turn more quickly than you can imagine. If you have any queries, alternative perspectives, or even your own story to share, please leave them in the comments. Let's talk about it and figure out the best course of action for your particular circumstances. Your journey may be unique, and we can work together to find the best strategy. Because the next 6 steps will take this even further, stay tight with me. What comes next will completely change how you view relationships and your sense of self-worth. Let's keep moving forward, disappear into silence. Let's get right to the second thing you need to do, disappear into silence. I realize that silence might not seem aggressive. Won't they forget about me? Let me assure you that they won't when you put all 7 of the steps from this video into practice. I see your worry about being forgotten. Let me ask you this, though, are you truly willing to give up your own value, growth, and dignity in order to keep trying for someone who can't even give you a small portion of their attention right now? Just because you are obsessed with someone else, are you really willing to forget yourself? Listen, silence is a sign of strength, not passivity or weakness. When you go silent, you are moving forward rather than retreating. You are making them feel the absence of your energy, and they will not forget about you. The silence doesn't erase your presence, it makes it louder. It makes them wonder, wait, why aren't they chasing me? What did I overlook? Did I underestimate them? They feel you in the emptiness when you disappear into silence. You blend into the background like white noise if you keep chasing. Are you going to keep pleading for their attention and lose yourself in the process, or are you going to step back and let them feel the discomfort of your absence? Consider the following scenario: you quit texting, calling, and reacting all of a sudden. They are scrolling through their phone and realize you are no longer there. Trust me, they will notice when you vanish. They'll start to wonder, wait, why have they gone silent? Did I screw up? Are they seeing someone else? That's the force of silence, it compels them to fill the void with their own thoughts and insecurities. It's a tactical move, it's not just silence. Let's not beat around the bush. If you're afraid they'll forget about you, you're already losing. Why are you putting so much emphasis on them remembering you? Why aren't you concentrating on remembering yourself? You are the reward here. You are the one who enriches their life and brings value. It's their loss, not yours, if they are pulling away. You are someone who commands attention just by existing in your own power, not someone who waits on the sidelines for scraps of attention. If they are unable to recognize that, it is time to show them rather than tell them, through silence. Here is the kicker: you also give yourself the space to reflect and grow when you are silent. You stop using energy to try to drag back someone who is already leaving and instead start bringing yourself back to your self-worth and purpose. I'm going to give you some tough love. It's going to be uncomfortable to disappear into silence. You're going to feel the urge to send that one more text to try to fix things and explain yourself. They already know your value, though. By going overboard, you don't need to prove it. You are remaining silent to give yourself some peace and because you need someone who sees your worth without you having to constantly remind them of it. To be clear, silence is not just about them missing you, it is also about you rediscovering your own strength. When you stop talking, stop explaining, and stop chasing, you get your energy back. Allow me to inform you that energy is magnetic. They won't forget you, they'll always remember that you're no longer around to react to their breadcrumbs. You shouldn't be content with scraps because breadcrumbs are not a meal. The next time you feel the urge to reach out, stop, take a breath, and ask yourself if this text will bring me closer to my own value or if I'm just trying to cling to someone who isn't seeing my worth. Here's how you can incorporate this into your life. You are reminding yourself that you are sufficient, whether or not they pay attention, every time you fight that desire. If you're having trouble with this, keep in mind that discomfort is where growth occurs. If you're too comfortable trying to get someone's attention, that's a sign that you need to take a step back. Although silence may initially feel awkward, it is in that silence that you rediscover your strength, resilience, and undeniable value. Let me end this by reiterating a potent Stoic truth from Epictetus: it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. It is your time to respond with strength, not panic, and to respond with silence, not noise. Allow them to experience what it's like when you remove your energy from their life. You are not chasing, you are desirable. You are standing still, and they will come back. Here is that affirmation once more, because it serves as the cornerstone of all we do. Drop it in the comments if you haven't already. I am irresistible. This is your chance to claim your power. Forge the inner weapon. We're moving on to the next thing you need to do, so buckle up, forge the inner weapon. I realize you might be thinking, what weapon? I don't want to hurt them. I love them. I understand that you are not here to play mind games or hurt anyone. This weapon is not intended for them, it is intended for you. It entails fostering the inner fortitude, tenacity, and self-worth that will support you through this circumstance and beyond. The goal here is to arm yourself mentally and emotionally, not to hurt, but to protect and raise yourself. Who is defending you, after all, if you're constantly giving, waiting, and hoping? That's the purpose of this inner weapon. Here's the hard truth: when someone distances themselves from you, it's no longer about them, it's about how you act, grow, and use that distance to fortify yourself. You are providing them with more power over your emotions, mental space, and peace every time you spend another second obsessing over them. What course of action should we take? We forge the inner weapon that guarantees you are unshakable. Consider this: you've been giving this person everything, pouring your heart into them, and showering them with love and attention. They are now distancing themselves. What's the typical reaction? Despair, terror, and anxiety. Not for you, though. You are going to do something different. Instead of spiraling down emotionally, you are going to turn inward and start developing your own strength. That's how you win without having to say a word. Marcus Aurelius once stated that you have control over your mind, not external events. Realizing this will give you strength. You are unable to influence their actions, but you are able to influence your reaction. You respond by developing into a mentally impregnable being. This stage is all about you, it doesn't entail loving them less. When you create the inner weapon, you are not just reacting to their distance, you are preparing to thrive with or without them. Investing in yourself in a way that makes you resilient to rejection, immune to indifference, and unaffected by their absence, involves developing the inner weapon. This entails improving your mind, body, and soul to the point where their actions no longer dictate how you feel about yourself. You're going to stop worrying about their actions and start taking control of your own. Here is the thing: they will take note when you quit giving them all of your attention and instead start directing that energy inward. They are going to be impacted, they are going to perceive the shift, and the power dynamic will change. You are too busy building your empire, and they will realize they are no longer the center of your universe. By the time they do, you will be so engrossed in your own growth that it won't even matter. It is difficult to create this inner weapon, requiring discipline, focus, and the capacity to put yourself first, even when it feels unnatural. You deserve to be so confident in your own worth that someone else's distance doesn't break you. You are not the kind to fall apart when they leave, rather, you are the kind to rise up, get stronger in their absence, and create inner fortitude that no one can take away from you. I realize that this is difficult and that you love them and don't want to lose them. By concentrating on yourself, you won't lose them, you'll only gain. Whether they come back and realize what they've lost or you realize that you don't need them to be complete, you come out on top. Growing is not up for debate. To begin, concentrate on what fortifies you. Start a new habit, sign up for a gym, and discover something you've always wanted to. Spend time with those who elevate you rather than deplete you. The more you put into yourself, the stronger you become. Ask yourself, what am I doing today to make myself stronger tomorrow, every time you're tempted to check your phone for their message. That's how you create the inner weapon. Seneca stated that the quality, not the quantity, matters. Like a tale, so is life, not how long it is, but how good it is. It emphasizes the caliber of your life, development, and strength, rather than the quantity of messages you send in the hopes of getting a response. Create the weapon within you that renders their silence irrelevant. The moment you realize how powerful you are, they will feel it as well. You will be the one deciding whether or not they are worth your time by then. You become irresistible when you forge this inner weapon. Your energy transforms, your perspective shifts, and you quit waiting for their attention because you are too busy succeeding. I am irresistible. This is the truth. To reiterate, it's time to affirm, I am irresistible. Write it down in the comments, say it out loud, and believe it. You won't just endure their distance when you forge this weapon, you'll get stronger, more self-assured, and completely magnetic. Keep in mind that every time you have doubts about yourself, repeat that. When you are tempted to pursue, remember who you are turning into, you are creating the weapon that makes you unyielding. Congratulate yourself if you are still watching this video, you don't give up easily. You are here to change, grow, and reclaim your strength, which already makes you stand out from the majority of people who would have left by now. Remain with me until the conclusion because this journey is not over yet. You need to know the full strategy. Every step builds on the one before it, and you are only receiving a portion of the solution if you don't have the complete picture. This is not a one-step fix, it is a complete transformation. Hold on because you will have a strategy that eliminates any possibility of doubt, desperation, or weakness by the end of this. You will have a thorough, unbreakable strategy to deal with any circumstance. Summon the power of mystery. Let's get to the next thing you need to do, summon the power of mystery. I realize that you might be thinking, why should I be mysterious? Won't that just push them further away? Mystery is one of the most potent weapons at your disposal when someone distances themselves and starts ignoring you. It's natural to want to explain yourself, over-communicate, or attempt to resolve the problem. The more predictable you are, the less intriguing you become. People are drawn to things they don't fully understand. You leave no room for curiosity if you show all of your cards. You give them something they can't quite grasp when you create a sense of mystery. You develop into an enigma, something they cannot understand, which makes them want to know more. When you step back and quit revealing every detail about how you're feeling or what you're doing, they start to wonder. They'll start to wonder, why aren't they reacting? What is going on in their world that I don't know about? You are not broadcasting every move you make, which piques their interest. Mystery's strength is that it attracts people without you having to follow them. Consider that you have been constantly texting someone, keeping them up to date on your life, and expressing your feelings. All of a sudden, you stop giving too much information. You are still there, but not as accessible. You refrain from posting about every little thing on social media, and you don't react to their silence. You create a space between what they do and don't know. The more they think about you, the more their curiosity grows in that gap. It's similar to an invitation without a map. You are asking them to figure you out, but you are not giving them the instructions, they have to work for it. In the process, they'll start to value your attention more because they understand it is not something they can easily foresee or control. As Epictetus stated, how you respond to what happens to you is what matters. Your reaction in this instance is to become a mystery. Don't respond in a way they expect, and don't give them the satisfaction of knowing what you are thinking. Instead, allow your actions, or lack thereof, to make them question. By not revealing everything about yourself, mystery is not about playing games, it is about fostering a sense of intrigue. You are allowing them to come to you because they are drawn to what they cannot understand, since you understand your worth. The dynamic changes when you call upon the strength of mystery. I am intriguing. Say it, believe it, and watch how the dynamic changes when you let a little mystery do the talking. Embrace emotional armor. Let's move on to the next thing to do, which is to embrace emotional armor. What does that even mean? You might be wondering. It entails creating a shield around your emotions so that you quit being hurt by every little thing they do or don't do. Your initial response when someone distances themselves may be to let it get to you and feel hurt by their indifference. The reality is that you are handing them all the power if you let every little action or lack of action break you down. This must end. Emotional armor is about shielding yourself from pointless emotional harm. It doesn't mean you should stop feeling or caring altogether, rather, it means you shouldn't let their actions influence your attitude, worth, or happiness. You develop immunity to their antics. You stand firm when they ignore you, understanding that their actions have no bearing on who you are. The first impact you feel when someone distances themselves is emotional. You start to question yourself, doubt your worth, and feel exposed. That's where emotional armor comes in. You decide not to allow their actions to have any sway over you. Marcus Aurelius once stated that you have control over your mind, not external events. By understanding this, you will discover strength. That is the essence of emotional armor. You determine how much emotional energy to invest. You redirect that energy back into yourself and put on your emotional armor. You protect your peace, happiness, and respect, rather than pouring more emotion into a situation you cannot control if they are pulling away. You become very appealing when you are emotionally armored. People are drawn to those who are emotionally secure and don't collapse or respond to every little thing. They exude confidence and self-control. They'll wonder why you aren't pursuing them and why you aren't affected by their silence. Instantly, the tables turn, and they are the ones who feel vulnerable. You begin to stand in your own strength and quit needing their validation. This is not about being aloof, it is about being emotionally unshakable. Say it, live it, and feel it, because no one can break you down when you embrace emotional armor. You are in charge of your emotions, which makes you unstoppable. Flip the script without words. Let's go to the next thing you need to do, flip the script without words. This is a game changer. How can I alter the dynamic without uttering a word, you might be asking. Acts speak louder than words. Silence paired with deliberate action can completely change the situation in your favor. This action entails demonstrating to them, rather than informing them, that you have changed the game. The impulse when someone distances themselves is to run after them, ask questions, or attempt to justify your feelings. You now flip the script by remaining silent and letting your actions speak for themselves. This action entails showing them that you are no longer emotionally available on their terms. Without having to say anything, you have taken back your power, and they will sense it. They may have been ignoring your texts and leaving you on read, but just when they believe they have you figured out, you do nothing. You neither react nor give chase. You begin to concentrate on your development, happiness, and life. All of a sudden, they sense the shift and start to wonder, why aren't they trying to explain themselves? This is where the power lies. By removing your emotional energy from the situation and not conforming to their expectations, you are clearly stating that I am no longer acting in accordance with your principles. The best part about this is that your absence, silence, and attention to yourself speak volumes. You do not need to say anything to get your point through. They will observe the shift, which will bother them. This measure makes use of a fundamental Stoic tenet: stop arguing about what makes a good person and start becoming one. Live it and let your actions reflect your strength and growth, rather than attempting to demonstrate your worth or making excuses. They will feel the shift and it will make them question everything when they see you are no longer emotionally responding to their distance. The less you speak, the more they think. You compel them to confront their own behavior when you cease engaging in the typical emotional back and forth. What occurs next is where the magic truly occurs. They will start to wonder if they miscalculated, made a mistake, or have you passed them by. You have turned the tables, and they are now the ones who are unsure. The key here is that I am in control. When you flip the script, you are demonstrating that you are in charge of your emotions, energy, and life. You are not in control. Your actions speak for themselves, so you do not need to chase or justify them. Let them chase shadows. Now that we have arrived at the last and most important step, let them pursue shadows. Instead of just creating space, this move is about turning the tables so dramatically that people will be running around in circles trying to figure out what happened. Trust me, they will be pursuing you before they even realize what's happening when you do this correctly. What exactly does chasing shadows even entail? You might be asking. You stop being the one who is accessible, predictable, and simple to reach. They believe they had power over you, and you turn into a ghost of that person. No longer are you emotionally accessible on demand, or the one who anticipates their messages or bends over backward to gain their attention. Instead, you vanish into your own universe, leaving just enough clues to keep them wondering. You quit making it easy for them to get in touch with you. Stop being the one to respond or react right away. Instead, you develop into a puzzle they are unable to decipher. They'll see you living your life, possibly via a social media post here or a recent accomplishment there. However, it's always just out of reach. You allow them to pursue the concept of who you are now, as opposed to who you were when you were emotionally available. You've improved, and they're left in the dark, chasing memories without understanding how much has changed. They expect you to be there to keep trying, but this time, you are gone, not entirely, but almost. You leave traces of your development, happiness, and progress. You post that gym selfie, the announcement of your new job, and the weekend getaway you took with friends. There is no longer any direct access to you. They will see you moving on and begin to question where they fit in, or even if they do. The twist is that you are no longer thinking about them, and it shows when they see you living your best life. They will understand they have been left behind. They will try to make amends, but it will be too late because you are pursuing something better, yourself. The toughest part of this is that they will feel it, the absence of your energy, attention, and accessibility. It will begin to haunt them. They will pursue what they believed they had, but they will be too late. Let them pursue what they can no longer hold and let them chase shadows, allowing them to feel the loss of accessibility. All they will do is realize that they had something valuable but it is gone now. You won't need them anymore by the time they understand. This last affirmation will be the one that drives it all home: I am the prize. I am more powerful and completely out of reach. I am more powerful and completely out of reach. I am standing ahead in life. With that being said, let's walk through all the steps in shifting the dynamic when someone distances themselves and ignores you. The bottom line is that you are not just waiting for them to return, instead, you are developing yourself, honing your mind, and growing into the kind of person who does not need to beg for attention. You have leveled up, regardless of whether or not they acknowledge your value, and that is the real win here. What is the next course of action? It is time to act. Begin by implementing these measures one at a time and pay attention to how your energy changes. The more you prioritize yourself, the more alluring you will be to others. I am certain that this video connected with you. Be sure to subscribe for more content on how to tap into your power and live life on your own terms. If you are prepared to start claiming your strength and progressing, remember that you are irresistible and never let anyone cause you to forget.